Okay, we are recording and we are here again. It is Zoom number 3 and we are in what? Week 5. Oh my goodness, 5 of 8. All right, so we have a lot to cover tonight. And so I'm just going to, well, hold on a second. Hold on, please. Admitting. Okay. First off, do you have any questions? Anybody? No. All right. I'm going to share my screen and jump in on this PowerPoint. Come on. All right, here we go. All right, here we are, Zoom number 3. And I redid the PowerPoint. Looks a little different this time because it's still the content from Dr. Pil Kang, but there were some things that needed to be updated. I didn't have access to the source file, so I just decided to recreate it and end some confusion because they were just references to some things that it just didn't make sense. So anyway, here we are. The agenda. Excuse me. Sorry, it's been windy. I traveled over the weekend and guess what? There are things growing across the United States and things are producing pollen. So I'm having a little backlash from spring here. So sorry, bear with me. All right, so it's week 5. I've graded everything that's been submitted up through about 5 o'clock tonight. So if you've submitted it, it's graded. Okay, y'all, I apologize for something and I have the solution for it. For week 4, there was a discussion 4-2 that actually should not have been published. You should have only had one discussion item last week, but I didn't notice it. A student alerted me that there were no points values on that discussion item. So I apologize for that. And what I'm going to do, pause as I admit, the suspense. Okay, what I'm going to do to rectify that is I'm going to drop your lowest discussion grade and replace it with 10 points. 10 points. You're going to get those points regardless. So if you have a lower discussion item, you're going to get it replaced. If you didn't do one, then that's one. If you choose to not do one in the future, you'll know that you have full credit for something. Okay, so I'm just going to give you the points for it and call that a day. Does that sound fair? All right. Now, well, that's what we're doing. All right. I sent an announcement with your group assignments, and I want to talk about this in a little bit more once we go over the team assignment for number 1 that's going to be due. When is it due? April 28th. So it's due at the end of week 6. But I did send that announcement out, so you should be able to see who you're grouped up with. The one thing about, I'm just going to put this in your brain and let you think about it while we talk about the assignment a little bit. I'm working out some details in Canvas. I don't need to go into all the gory details, but I'm working out the detail in the design of the course so that you can submit that as a group paper. But what I want you to think about while we're going over this assignment is, should we change that and just make it an individual assignment, except for the few people who really, 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 really want to do it together? They could. So I'm putting that in your brain. Wasn't going to do that. but I'm reconsidering. All right, so that's just for thinking right now. It's not really a question yet, because we're going to go over the assignment. One other thing I want to remind you of is that, excuse me, on your discussion posts, there are two aspects. One is you are to create your post, your comments, your own original post. And the other thing is the intention is that you are expected to respond to two of your colleagues' posts. Some of you have not been doing that. So that is the expectation. And it is showing up in your points if you don't do that. So I just want to put that reminder out there. All right, we're going to talk about team assignment 1, and then we're going to talk about Kirkpatrick level 4 with a little hint to 5. And then also, I think we'll have time for it. We're going to do Kirkpatrick level 3. Okay. So any questions on any of these so far before we jump in on team assignment number 1? Anybody? Okay, here we go. Okay, go. There, wait. All right, so the intention was that this is going to be a group project and that you're going to work in teams. You have peer evaluations at the end of the 2 group assignments. So let me explain how the groups work. You have assignment number 1 due in week 6 and assignment number 2 due in week 8. And then you have a peer evaluation to do on your teammates. So if we end up changing our design to an individual assignment, then I will need to figure out what I'm going to do with those points so that you still get them. So I'm still thinking on that, but I'm not going to say yet right now what my thoughts are on that. We'll just wait a little bit. And then what you're doing in team project assignment number 1 is an evaluation plan. So, all right, let's keep going. So here's the assignment. The director of your organization has assigned you to the evaluation team of your organization. As part of the team, you've been given an assignment to write an evaluation plan for a training program. You are the evaluator. Your primary stakeholder is your director. That's a clue. You are not doing the evaluation. You're not doing it. You are creating a plan to evaluate this training program. It's a planning document. The purpose of the project is to understand the overall evaluation flow by planning it and align components of evaluation in an evaluation plan. All right, so let me take care of that. All right, the key components of this assignment, of this evaluation plan. So here are all of the pieces, 1 through 9, for the evaluation plan that you're going to be developing. The first 4 are the ones that are going to be due for team assignment number 1 in week 6. It is the topic of the training program, the training overview, the purpose of the evaluation, and the stakeholders. I'm going to show you an example, and we're going to go over all these pieces. For the next part of this assignment, you're going to add these other pieces. Not now, not yet. It's going to come. So you're just doing part 1 for week 6, and then you're going to do part 2 for week 8. The same training program. You are creating the evaluation plan for the same training program. Okay, are you with me so far? And does anyone have questions? As a quiet group. All right. And we can hear, we've checked it a couple of ways. So, all right. All right, so part 1, as I just was saying, you're going to put the topic of the training program, you're going to have a training overview, write the purpose of the evaluation, and you're going to list your stakeholders. What does that mean? First of all, you're going to select a topic. You're going to agree on the topic for the evaluation plan. You can use a training project that you've already developed in another class. So if you've already, some of you have taken those classes already, you've already made the design for a training program. This is your chance now to take that and couple it with the evaluation plan too. Or if you just have an idea in your mind of something you would like to evaluate, maybe it's a work project or something that's a training program at work, and you're like, I really wish we had an evaluation to go with this. I'm gonna write that plan. So that's something from work, or just any other idea, just something that's been kicking around in your mind. Maybe you have intentions of creating a training program for some purpose, and you want to do the evaluation plan to go with it. Okay, so you have a lot of latitude here. And if you're working in a team and you don't have an idea, then your teammates, the teams right now are broken into 5 teams of 4 people each. Somebody in there is going to have either an idea or a training program to use from another class or from work. So, and if you still have trouble with that, please contact me. We will find it. We will find it. All right. What's a training overview? What do I mean? You're going to write a rationale that is the description and the basic reasoning for doing this evaluation. So you're going to be thinking through and preparing your evaluation plan. All right. You're going to write that brief description of the training that you're going to evaluate. So what is it? What is the training program? I'm not going to make something up. I was going to, but we have a lot to cover, and we're going to go over an example in just a minute. All right. So in this brief description, you're going to, and the training program is the evaluand. So if you see that word or we say that word, then know that when we say you're writing an evaluation plan for an evaluand is the training program. It's the thing that you're evaluating. All right. So the brief description is going to include the title, the learning objectives, the seat time, which means how long is this training? Is it 3 days, 3 hours? How long? And you're going to give a brief description of your learners. All right. So for the purpose, you're going to add 2 to 4 paragraphs to the plan that's going to describe the purpose of the evaluation. It's going to explain why the training plan needs an evaluation. You're going to explain how the results of the evaluation will be used. Feel free to use sentences that start with, the purpose of this evaluation is to blah, blah, blah. The results of this evaluation will be used for or to blah, blah, blah. In fact, you are strongly encouraged to use those words. Make it as explicit and clear as you possibly can. Tell us why you're evaluating the program, describe the purpose of the evaluation, how the results are going to be used, and keep the section brief. It's going to be a few sentences. It's not going to be pages and pages long, but you need to be precise. All right. You're also going to describe your stakeholders on here. So you're going to talk about your stakeholders by role. So for example, in the instructions, it said the director who assigned you to this project is a primary stakeholder. There's nobody's name. We don't use names for this. We are simply talking about their role. In that description, the role is director. Okay, so you're going to identify that role. You're going to identify what that stakeholder needs. There's going to be other stakeholders too, and I'm going to show you an example in just a second. You're going to describe their role relative to the evaluand, which is the training program, and why they are interested in the training and in the evaluation results. Why do they care? What's it to them? Are they assigning resources? Are they paying for it? Are they trying to decrease accidents? Are there, I mean, why do they care? Again, do not list actual names of people. Just identify their role in the organization. And then there's some other examples. Maybe they're the director of training, the vice president of human resources, the dean of instruction, etc. You're going to write, well, that's an interesting word, 1 or 2 paraphrases, no, paragraphs on each role about the bullets above. Again, I'm going to show you an example in just a second. In total, this team assignment number 1 is going to be 2 to 4 pages in length. And again, it's due by Sunday midnight on 4/28, which is the end of week 6. Not this week, but next week. The end of this week is the individual assignment that you're working on right now, the comprehensive test. And this one is going to be due in the following week. So you have about 10 days from now. Okay. Let's take a look. Who has questions while I'm pulling up the sample document? Anybody?
Would you be able to send a copy of that presentation that you just showed us?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I have been doing that with all of them, sending a copy of the PowerPoint so that you have that information. And if there's a sample, all of them have had samples so far. So I've been sending that in the announcement. Let me write it down.
Tracy?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I haven't been seeing the PDF presentations in the Canvas. Is there a certain section you're putting it in?
They're in there. So here's how it works. In Canvas, I can only attach one document. So what I have been doing is in the body of the text, in the text where it says the sample, I'm putting a link to that document. I'm able to link it through the course and put it in that way. But the PDF is then at the bottom. If you look at the bottom of that announcement, you should see it in there.
Okay, got it. I'll check it out. Thank you.
Okay. And if somebody can check it while we're here and confirm that on your side, I mean, I'm sure seeing it on my side.
I saw it.
Okay, perfect. All right, PDF and example. So I'm just making a note. It is my practice already, but I just like to write down and make sure I do what I tell you I'm going to do. Okay, any other questions? I am going to share this one. Is this it? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So here is an example of an evaluation plan. You can see they've got the topic and they've given a brief description of it. They have the training overview with the title of the training, the learning objectives or the training goals. I would do that a little bit differently, but okay, this is the sample, so it's okay. The seat time, how long is it? What are we doing here? What's the structure? And then who are the learners? A very brief description of who it is that is doing this training. Then you're going to write about the purpose of the evaluation, a couple of paragraphs here. What's the purpose of this evaluation? Da, 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 da. Okay. The results will be used for da, 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 da. Use those words. All right, and then the stakeholders. So you'll see here that here is the role, the director, and here's the purpose. Here's the reason they care about the training and the evaluation. Here's another one, another one, another one, and another one. So this one has, what is that, 5 or 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one has 5 stakeholders and a brief paragraph explaining their role as it is with this evaluand and the evaluation. All right, so I'll be sending that out too. Questions? Okay, stopping that one. I'm going to get us back to the where is it? Here it is. All right. Whoops. Okay. What am I sharing? This. There, we got it now. All right, let's talk about Kirkpatrick level 4. Slow me down if I'm going too fast when we start blowing through this, okay? Because it's a lot. So, Kirkpatrick level 4, we're going to be talking about our ROI, return on investment, is what that stands for, or the business impact. So let's just do a little quick review about the 4 levels. Level 1 is the reaction. It's to what degree participants react favorably to the learning event. Level 2 is learning, to what degree participants acquire the intended knowledge, skills, and attitudes based on their participation in the learning event. Level 3 is behavior, to what degree participants apply what they've learned during training when they go back to the job. And level 4 is then the results, to what degree targeted outcomes occur as a result of the learning events and subsequent reinforcement. All right, so we're going to be focusing on level 4 here. So here's an example. And we're talking about targeted outcomes and the result of the learning event. So in this example, as a consultant, you propose a set of solutions that will ease the global warming issue. So you have a set of solutions. There are expected results, which are, according to climate scientists, the solutions will stop increasing global temperature. In 10 years, the average global temperature will go down 2 degrees Fahrenheit. So in terms of a level 4 evaluation, your treatment is extremely successful. You are able to quantify this. Okay, let's just keep going. You'll see. So again, level 4, we're looking at these outcomes, right? So what if your training has very high impact and results with extremely high costs? What then? All right, so using that same example, the set of solutions that we've come up with is we're going to stop using all fossil fuels, including petroleum, diesel, and coals. We still have the same expected results. That hasn't changed. But in terms of level 4 evaluation, your treatment is still considered extremely successful. All right. Well, okay, before we move on to that one. So what about the cost of that? If you just like tomorrow, stop using all fossil fuels, is that going to be a high cost? Really, sure, you'll get results, but what about the costs associated with that? All right, we're going to use a different kind of example now. What if the city of Albuquerque needs to build a wave pool in order to achieve better level 4 evaluation results for lifeguard training in New Mexico? Well, okay, maybe there needs to be a wave pool to do this lifeguard training, but where are these waves? where are these waves coming from? Where is this body of water where we need all these people trained in doing wave retrieval? I mean, we don't have that kind of bodies of water. We're not talking about ocean surfing and stuff like that. So that would be a very high cost to provide that. Okay. So the idea that I want to solidify through these examples and us talking about it is that the analysts and the evaluators should consider its cost for training and other interventions. All right, so for some people, results over cost should be called level 5. Well, we are talking about Kirkpatrick 4 levels. So we aren't even doing 5 levels in this class. We're not going to that degree here, okay? what we're going to do is level 4, and the business impact already contains the concept of cost effectiveness. Okay. So now we're going to talk about cost effectiveness. All right. Level 4. So cost effectiveness in training and performance intervention integrates results of activities with their costs. It enables the programs to get best results for a given cost or to get given results for the least cost. Okay. Because cost or effectiveness measures or outcomes alone are of little value. It's like you need that other piece to compare it to, the best result for the given cost or the given result for the least cost. All right. Stay with me. All right. So cost effectiveness is a broad set of techniques for evaluation and for decision making. It includes cost benefit, cost and benefits both measured in monetary terms, which is ROI, and cost utility, which compares costs with estimates of value. All right, so let's talk about cost benefit. Costs and benefits are both measured in monetary terms. Both of them are talked about in terms of money, the cost and the benefit in terms of monetary terms, okay? It's desirable to have benefits greater than costs. A program can be examined for its own worth, and it allows you to compare programs and seek the highest cost-benefit ratio, all right? Cost-benefit nature or measures. Costs measured in dollars, benefits or the effects are also measured in dollars, and it assumes non-monetary benefits that are either not important or they are convertible to monetary benefits. I know this is, stay with me. All right, what are the issues with the cost benefit? The cost benefit is going to show you the benefits that, well, hopefully what you want is how much benefits are greater than costs. You want the benefits to outweigh the costs. And it's going to give a monetary value of impacts. Pecuniary is another word for monetary, you know. All right, the advantages of this is that for a single program, you get return on investment type information, and it's easy to compare multiple programs. But the disadvantage is that the benefits and the costs must be measurable in dollars, okay? Cost benefit analysis or evaluation answers two key questions. How many total dollars did I gain as a result of the training? And for every dollar I invested in training, how many dollars did I get in return? What are the key factors in determining training ROI? Take measurements before and after the training to determine the true effect of the training program. So you need to have that before and after. You've used conservative numbers, so it's easier to sell the ROI figures internally within your organization. And track and measure data that is important to your organization and its goals. They're looking at it, it's important. All right, so here is the return on investment calculation process. There are different steps and there's a formula, okay? So step 1, determine what the benefits are that you want to quantify. Step 2, gather the pre and post training statistics for the benefits. Remember, we said we need to test it before and after. You want to gather that data. 3, you're going to calculate the dollar value of the benefits. Step 4, you're going to calculate the dollar value of the cost. Step 5, you're going to calculate the net dollar value of the benefit. And then step 6 is going to be calculating the ROI. So here's the formula. ROI equals total program benefits minus the costs over the costs times 100%. When you subtract these two amounts, the total program benefits minus total program costs, that is what gives you the net program benefits. So you can continue on the formula. All right. So here's an example. Here's this company. The issue is they're experiencing a high turnover rate, a 15% turnover rate. The intervention is to provide a training to ease the turnover. The results of doing this intervention was that in 6 months after launching the training, the turnover rate decreased to 5%. So it's 10% decreased. It was 15, decreased to 5, so it actually decreased by 10%. The average employee earnings before overtime are $80,000. The number of employees is 100 people. All of these details are given here so that we can go through the formula. Okay, so here's the overview. We have the benefits. The reduced turnover rate is 10%. We're going to convert that to a dollar value. So we're going to take the average employee earnings before overtime, and we're going to the cost of employee turnover cited. So the cost of employee turnover cited in the Wall Street Journal is 50% of the employee's annual salary. So this is a piece of data that you need in order to calculate this particular formula. We need to know what the cost of turnover is. We got that value from the Wall Street Journal. So, and some studies use different numbers, but we're going to go with this one. And so we're able to then calculate the average cost of one employee's turnover. So losing an employee is costing this company $40,000 per turnover. For every employee that walks out the door, they're losing $40,000. We've been able to calculate that. Let me check this chat. Hold on. All right. The average number of reduced employee turnover, 5%. It's 100 people times 10%. That was the reduced turnover rate. That's 10 people. So we have that. So here we've got the calculation of total benefits. We've got $40,000 times 10 people. We've just been able to save that company $400,000 just by doing this training intervention. Okay. So here's the formula, the 400,000. This is the program benefit. All right. We're getting ready to calculate out this formula. All right. So for the calculation example for ROI, the costs are all the expenses for the training. So the e-learning module price was $30,000. The training opportunity costs are also calculated in here. And then there's an alternative formula for alternative opportunity costs. And that's a lighter color because it's just to say it's there, but we're not really going to be looking at that. And the total training costs, we're going to use that $30,000 for the cost of the e-learning training module, plus this figure here, 1,923. This is the opportunity cost that was calculated out. And that gives us this figure here, which is the total training costs. Now we take that number and plug it into total training costs, total program costs, sorry. Now, on this example, we're actually using the numbers instead of the text. In this one, we've done the math. It's still here. And now we have the ROA calculation. And then here's the alternative opportunity costs based on that other formula. So here it is again. All right, so the question then is, we're getting the answers to these questions. How many total dollars did I gain as a result of the training? And then for every dollar I invested in training, how many dollars did I get back in return? We're able to answer these questions now with the ROI. All right, so let's back it up a little bit. What questions do you have? Let me stop this. So the question in the chat is, what do you do if your benefits are not necessarily directly measurable in dollars? Well, this calculation is based on being able to quantify. So why would they not be measurable? What's not measurable?
So I'm actually working on this exact thing for work,
Okay,
and we're having difficulty in being able to pinpoint that it was the result of the training program that we're able to see some savings. So we're looking at things like turnover, like exactly like in your example. But then there's things like employee morale and engagement that should go up due to some of the things we're going to be implementing. So in order to sell it, the dollar amount is going to sell it. But is there anything that you can do if it's not necessarily measurable in dollars?
so how do you know that employee morale is low?
So that's where we should see, right, an increase in employee retention. If the morale's going up, less
That's quantifiable.
employees are going to be leaving.
So
But what
retention
do you
is
do?
quantifiable.
So what do you do if you can't necessarily pinpoint that that's the cause of it?
Well, I mean, I would find a way to pinpoint that.
That's-
Like, I mean, through exit interviews or,
yeah.
you know, employee surveys. Now, the thing about doing employee surveys is, people have this belief that their organization is watching them and that there's going to be some retaliation. So if you want that kind of information and you want it as honest as it's going to get, then you really have to reassure them that that data is anonymous. Like there's no way to trace it back to them. And if it is traceable back to them, of course, then you have to do the confidentiality piece of it. And sometimes there's not really, enough reassurance that you can give to get that.
Yeah.
So otherwise, without having that documented in some kind of way, it's not, I mean, you've got to have that tangible piece of information. Are you getting
Okay.
it through exit interviews? Are they telling you? Or people just talking about it in the break room, that kind of thing? Or
Yeah. We're getting it in exit interviews. Yeah, it's just getting them to pay attention to that we're actually getting it in exit interviews.
yeah,
So it's
that's
finding what's
quantifiable.
quantifiable.
Yeah.
And that's where maybe we just haven't been tracking it enough in the beginning to be able to compare it to something in the end.
Well, and another thing you can do is interview managers. I mean, if it's people talking about it in their if it's going to be a formal meeting, that can be documented anyway. Like if it's their one-on-one meeting with their supervisor.
Mhm.
If they're saying I'm unhappy and I might leave in a meeting like that, then they're already close.
Yeah.
It's so if they're saying that, then the managers can help to quantify that a little bit more by saying, well, um, you know, I've had 5 meetings over the last month and 3 of my people said something about low morale.
Okay.
I mean, that's still, you can still get to that, you know,
Yeah.
but chances
Okay.
are they're not saying it in those meetings. Chances are
Yeah,
saying it in real private settings.
true. They are. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? We're doing good on time. I thought we were gonna really bog down on that. All right. Let me get back over here to share my screen and we will carry on. All right, let's talk a little bit about Kirkpatrick level 3. I knew we'd have time for it, but yeah. Okay, so barriers to skill transfer. Why people do not apply what they learn. I'm sure you've experienced this through yourself or your colleagues or your staff. Why don't they apply what they learned? We had this big training. Why aren't they using it? All right, so here are the conditions of the learners. These are some pretty interesting numbers. 48% don't see a payoff in using the skills. 42% don't have sufficient confidence. The training wasn't enough. They need some practice. 33% don't know when they're using the skills effectively. Again, that sounds like practice to me. 29% fail when they're using the skills. 25% disagree with the values and concepts of the program. They don't have buy-in. 22% do not have an immediate application for the skills. So they're getting training they don't even need because they don't use that. So that's from the learner perspective. Conditions of the immediate managers. 92% of the immediate managers do not reinforce learner use of skills. Interesting. 88% do not use or support the skills. 85% do not coach the learners in the use of the skills. They don't coach even when they're asked for advice. If you're a manager, I hope you take that in and change your ways. Actually, it's really important, I'm saying it joking around, but I do mean it. All right, the conditions of the organization. 68% have task interference. There's no authority, no time. There's inadequate physical environment, prohibitive procedures and policies. 60% have inadequate feedback. The learners don't get information back about their impact. And 23% have negative consequences. They get punishment rather than reward. So they've been trained, they're doing the training, they're implementing what they've learned, and then they get punished for it. Opportunities are always well protected by barriers. Those are the barriers that we just talked about. So that's level 3. What about questions on that, or comments or experiences or stories about those conditions? And I can pop back to them if you want me to. Anybody? Nobody wants to talk. Okay. So if you don't have questions about that, let me circle back to this individual assignment number 2 that's due on Sunday. Anybody have questions about that? The tests that you're developing. Do you have questions about team assignment number 1 coming up? The part 1 of the evaluation plan. Okay, so my question to you is, now that we've kind of gone over what that assignment entails, and you have an expectation of how long the paper is going to be and what elements to include in it, I would like to know your preferences. We can, like I said, I have some details in Canvas that I'm working on so that you can submit it as a group. Well, I'll tell you this much. I don't want to bog down in this, but it's set up as an individual assignment in Canvas. So, and we're already underway. So, I mean, I could easily have taken care of that before class started. But frankly, I did not notice that that was set up as an individual assignment when it's really supposed to be a group assignment. Set up means the way that you give me the paper and the way I'm able to give you the grades back. So I'm checking to see if I can, since we're underway already, there's nothing been submitted yet on that, so we should be okay. But it occurred to me that, you could do this as an individual project easily, but you know. So far I'm getting 2 comments about it. Does anyone have a very strong preference?
Is this due? This is due on the 28th, right? This group
28th,
project.
April 28th.
So we have about 9 days ish
Yes,
to work together and get this done.
yes. To organize each other, to pick your parts, to make sure your document reads as one document instead of 4 documents mushed into one. Know what I'm saying? Okay, it's looking like we're gonna shift this to an individual. So there have been requests already for groups, and I would say that if y'all still want to work together, you can, and you can both submit the same paper. If it's 2 of you in that group. If there are more, well, I'll deal with that. You just let me know, okay? Just let me know if you're going to continue to work in a group, and let me know that I'm going to see those 2 exact papers. And I'm seeing now people are popping in with concerns about meeting. That is what I was thinking about today too. Like, it's just, we're all very busy. Everybody's got a packed life, and as much as a group project can really positively affect your learning, you get a chance to interact with people, you get a chance to experience their perspective. It gives you some things to think about. It can also be challenging. So anyway, I'm recognizing that, and I am perfectly happy to pivot on this and make it an individual assignment. It means that the points value are going to change, because the points on that team evaluation that's going to be due at the end, is 20 points. So what I'm probably going to do is divvy it up and put 10 points on each, an additional 10 points on each. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
And I'll put this in an announcement too, I'll put an announcement. I'll retract my statement. I'll also not go forward on turning the assignments into groups and setting that up as a group assignment. I think had we been doing that from the beginning of the 8 weeks, not the very beginning, but earlier on, I think that the group aspect could have worked out differently, but I had heebie-jeebies about it. So I'm reading that some of you have heebie-jeebies about it too. Okay, so that's a technical term from the South. No, from New Orleans.
I have a question though.
Okay.
Do we have, so there's one that's due this Saturday, or I mean this Sunday, individual
I'm
training.
sorry, what? I can't hear you.
We have a deadline this Sunday. We have to create a training evaluation.
No,
Correct.
this Sunday, April 21st, it is the comprehensive test that you're doing.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Okay.
And then on the 20th, okay.
The 28th is going to be part 1 of the evaluation plan. That was a team project, now is an individual project. That is due at the end of week 6. So part 2.
And then, okay.
Yeah, part 2 of that is going to be the last week, week 8. And it'll be the rest of the pieces, and we will talk about that at the next Zoom, which is May, dun, 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 May 1st. Okay. So the assignments are set up in the modules. And so the one that's due this Sunday, you find that in, I think it's in week 4. Let me go check it and tell you where it is. Individual assignment 2, creating level 2 test. Yes, you find that the place where you post that is in week 4. Okay. Somebody's talking. Somebody's talking and you're muffled. Can't- I didn't get it. Whoever was trying to talk. It sounded really garbly. Did you have a question, somebody? Okay, so I'm gonna send an announcement and oh, maybe that was a radio in the background. I don't know. Maybe it was something. I couldn't make it out. So I'm gonna send announcements and update all y'all. And please feel free to contact me if you need clarification on anything. And was that confusing? Or are you feeling settled?
I think it's okay.
Sounds
Okay.
good to me.
All right. If anyone is still confused, then please stay on and let's talk about anything else. Anybody else can go. Look at that. 7 minutes early. So you're free to leave if you want to. You stick around if you want more. All right.
I have a question after everybody leaves.
Okay. I'll stick around.
Well, is it just you and me now?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, it's not. I just want, so the return on investment calculation, is that gonna play into the next project that we have to submit on the?
Okay, you're fading out. So let's just pop in there and take a look at the next one for level for the team 2, part 2 of the evaluation plan. Let me share my screen. Is that it? Okay, so this is part 2, and this is going to be due in week 8. So you have these pieces already that you will be submitting on April 28th. And then you're going to
Yeah.
add the key questions, the evaluation design, data collection methods and sampling, evaluation issues and constraints, and the evaluation budget. Let's see here. Let's see how much detail of the budget. A reasonable approximation about program costs, about what's going to cost to implement the evaluation. So you do have to have some of that. And so let me stop the share for a second and pop in here to look at the sample. Let's see how detailed the sample goes. Oh, it's going to take me a minute to get there. Okay. This one is okay. It's cost. I mean, you got to figure out the materials and personnel.
So is it like the same one that we just calculated?
Yeah,
earlier?
cost benefit ROI.
Okay.
So you're gonna have the program benefits and the program costs.
Okay. And you're gonna be able to send that entire PowerPoint as well.
This one, yes, I'll send the it'll be a PDF, and that one's gonna be down like at the bottom of the announcement. Whereas the sample document is gonna be like in the body of the text, of the
Okay.
announcement. I can't attach more than one. It's kind of silly. I mean, I don't understand that, but when I tried to do it, it just replaced the first attachment instead of adding. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
and I
I'm
didn't
good.
want to
Thank
send
you so
multiple
much.
announcements because of that. But I did put a little note in the announcement, but oh, I didn't get feedback saying that they couldn't find it until tonight. So anyway,
I saw it.
okay, good. Yay.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Professor Hart.
Yes.
Thank you.
Tracy's fine. But
Okay.
okay.
Thank you, Tracy.
Good
All
night.
right. Thanks. Have a
All
good
right.
night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.